Morning, lady. How are you this morning? That's one. Here's number two. Good morning, lady. Welcome to Quarry Lake, old limestone quarry here in Harrington Beach State Park, which is right on the shores of Lake Michigan. I came out here on this trip, specifically it's a photography trip. I wanted to get some pictures, just exploring, see what I could capture. Got up bright and early so I could capture the falls. And I give you a scale of what I found here. So I start out, and I'll let you see what's happening here in a second. So you can see the full scale of the lake, and then I zoom in on the falls. So they are way on the other side of the lake there, and I already showed you what they look like up close. Now I really, like I said, I intended this to just be a photography tour, but I went back and looked at my video that I did here 4 years ago, and well, it was corrupted on YouTube, unwatchable. Why didn't anybody tell me? It was just horrible. It was just glitching out left and right, and pretty much the park was glitching out left and right too, because at that time the water levels in Lake Michigan were extremely high, and I'll try to dig up some photos, some video from that and show you that, and then I'll give you a comparison to what it's like now. As far as the campground goes, not much to show you. I'll show you what it's like, but there's no campground tour in this video. There's just a this is what the campground's like. You have an electric section, a non-electric section, and I definitely do have to show you what the sites are like. They are very, very private, but it's not like everything else like this that's all wooded. It's not wooded at all. It's brush, but each site is very private, and I'll show you that later on in the video. Now, the one thing I already started to show you was deer. I only saw two so far this morning because I went down Whitetail Trail. Whitetail Trail, as I recall last time I was here, it was the only place I didn't see a deer. Last night when I made a walk around the park, I must have seen at least 10. And I remember doing that last time too, just deer everywhere in this park. So if you want to see deer, this is a great place to see them. Now this half of the park, the wooded half, is built on the remnants of an old quarry and quarry town. And right on this site, there was the stone crusher. And it was massive. Let me show you the picture. So looking at the scale here, we're standing around here. This lake just plummets off into depth, and that's a human scale. Those are people down there. They had pumps running to keep this thing empty. They'd haul the stone up into a crusher, send it up the conveyors, send it down to the lake on some railroad tracks, and ship it out on across the lake. So as we look under here, you can still see remnants of steel under the water here. Probably one of the reasons they don't want anybody swimming in here. Other than the fact that if someone drowned in here, they'd never be able to find the body because it was just too deep. Now there is a wonderful path all the way around the lake. There's several other paths that pop up here and there. And many of these spots, you can get a view of the falls across the lake. Now, don't expect those falls to always be flowing. Last time I was here, it was barely a trickle. It's kind of a weird, just flows across, you know, this kind of rock and just sort of falls in. It doesn't have a direct stream coming at it. It just kind of meanders down, goes over the rocks, and then decides to fall in. So besides this, we're going to go take a look at the Lakeshore, which is very different than the last time I was here. So there are several different spots along the Quarry Lake where you just turn around and you got access to the day use area along Lake Michigan. Let's go take a look. Now the road I'm walking on right now is not a road you can drive on. There is no parking out here amongst the day use areas. There is a main parking lot, beach parking lot down at the end. And this is the shuttle road. I'm gonna have to check to see if there's a shuttle running now, but last time I was here, there was definitely not a shuttle running, and I'll show you why. By the way, this is a pet picnic area here, which is a very large, beautiful area. Now we got our warning here for sudden drop-off, and that's part of the reason that the shuttle wasn't working last time I was here, because this road over here was closed, because the road was the threat of disappearing. Last time I was here, the water levels were right up against the edge of the shore here and eating away at it and starting to take out the road. So a chunk of this road is new, and they built out, and they're still working on some of this, you know, to make sure this grass takes, and then the wall is new. But I believe up to about here was gone back in 2020, and they've had to rebuild this to make this accessible, and now we have a beach again. Lake Michigan levels are down quite a bit from where they were several years ago. If you're afraid of the lake, there's also the streams coming out. And these are a little warmer than the lake itself. Oh, that's warm water. As you wander around this park, you'll find information signs all over the place. This one specifically is about the steamer, the Niagara. And between 1844 and 1857, there was a lot of immigrants coming in, especially a lot coming in from Norway and things like that. And a lot of them were shuttled from New York inland through the Great Lakes and brought into places like this. Now, the Niagara just happened to have a fire offshore here. About 60 people died from that fire, drowning and trying to get into lifeboats. And they happen to have the anchor here. That's why this is being noted here. There's also a little side note. The anchor was brought in under old rules where you could do that. Now you would leave it where it lays. You will also find lots of little spots like this saying, hey, there used to be a house here. Back when the quarry was here, there was an entire village that supported it. Actually, the point over there by the steamer anchor is where the railroad tracks used to go out, and then there was quite a bit of extra distance out into the ocean, into the lake, a big pier to feed the steamers that were delivering the limestone out of here. And that tree was not here when I was here yesterday evening. That broke off last night in a storm. Now, when we get to the campground, you'll see that is not something you have to worry about in the campground. So according to the information here, a lot of these houses, once the quarry was closed in 1925, a lot of the houses were moved over to Luxembourg, a couple miles away. So, and they just cleared the place, sold the land, let the quarry fill back up. Quarry, I guess, is about 45 feet deep. Seems like it looks a lot deeper, but when you think of the sheer walls that just sort of disappear into that lake, it looks pretty dramatic. And that's kind of why they, don't want you hanging around the edge, because you slip. There is just a sheer drop. Well, there's no denying it now. There's beach enough for everyone down here now. It's really such a difference when the water levels are low on the Lake Michigan. So it's definitely worth coming out here. Now, where am I? I'm just south of Port Washington. How does that help? Hopefully. Now, it's not just about the beach. There's all this wonderful wooded area. This is what it's like all the way around the Quarry Lake, and a big chunk of this area just off the beach. And that's why there's so many deer, because they can explore this. It's a lot of swampy, just wonderful environment to explore. There's no terrain for humans. It's all very flat, easy paths. No hills per se to talk about here. It's just a lovely little walk. And there's lots of people just out walking this place, because it's just an easy place to meander. Do not wear your new white shoes. Look, limestone. I have to say the wayfinding is actually very good. They don't put lots of maps up everywhere, but they tell you how to get to places. The Quarry Pond is right over there. I can't get there from here because it's across the swamp, and you can see the fence over there. But I'm on my way to Pucketts Pond and show you that. It's up by the campgrounds. Now, if you want to see the deer here, get out in the evening, well after 6 or 7 o'clock, up until dark, or early in the morning, because after that all the walkers are out, including people with dogs, and that'll keep the deer in hiding, and they can easily hide out here when they want to. But if you get out early, you're going to see a lot of deer, and every now and then your path is just blocked by a deer. Twitch, twitch. Before she freaks out. Bye. This would be Pucketts Pond. Oh. Turtles on the log. Hey, turtles. Hey guys. I don't know if you can see them or not. Critters have a lot to say. Well, let's go see the campground. So I'm now in the campground. Can you tell? There you go. It's pretty dense. Like I said, it's not about the trees. There's not a lot of shade. You need solar. Great place for that. You need Starlink. You're clear here. There's also an observatory, and the wind noise may be a problem right now. But these sites offer great privacy. There's a pull-through right there. Can you tell? You don't even know your neighbors exist here, which might be a big advantage considering this is very close to Milwaukee, probably one of the closest state parks. There are quite a few in the state forest in the Kettle Moraine. They're probably about the same distance. But if you don't want to feel like you got neighbors on top of you, this is a good place for that. Except for this one. This one, you'll see people coming by. Like I said, Starlink. Easy shot from here. Now that I'm at High Point, I'm going to put you up on the tall pole and see if you can see anything. What you might have seen is the bathhouse. Let's go check that out. So this is one of those wonderful ones where up front, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 individual showers, unisex. At least some of them are handicap accessible too. On the back side of the building, there's men's on one side, women's on the other, just regular old bathrooms back there. Still very nice. Now this campground has 3 sections basically hubbed off of the bathhouse: electric, non-electric, and walk-ins over there. There's a series of walk-in sites out there that are nice and remote, have their own little pit toilet too. And I just watched the escaped kid being found by his parents. His kid on his bike in his jammies riding around out here, and Dad finally found him. It's a good place for biking to get around, but it's also a good place to get lost in the system of getting around here. Mainly because very few landmarks exist, and unless you're at an age where you can comfortably read the road signs and know your campsite number, you may have trouble finding your way back. You might even drive right past it and miss it. Now, I booked myself in here on a Monday night, and I was able to look at the campground and go, I wanted a non-electric site, and half of it, or more than half, was empty. The powered section was pretty much full. There was maybe 2 sites left. But there are plenty of open sites, certainly on the weekdays, on all 3 of the shoreline campgrounds. I checked Colarandre. I could find some non-powered sites there. Actually, there were some sites available in all sections there, as well as Point Beach. There are sites up there too. So I think I'm going to wind up spending my night there tonight. I think I kind of exhausted this place for myself and photos. That waterfall was great. But I want to get further away from city lights, and I think I have a better chance of not getting rain up there than I do down here. Well, here's my site, and my van just appeared out of nowhere. Let me just give you a quick tour of that. I feel like they may have just added some stone to this in the past couple years. They've got a lot of barriers here to prevent the water from just flowing in too much. I don't know if it's doing any good. It is a fairly swampy site. I wasn't expecting that. I've got water just flowing right through here. But hey, the picnic table's finally dry, so I might actually be able to have my breakfast out here. But as you can see, I just disappear in here. And now let's put you up top. Now I picked this site because, well, it was non-electric, and I'm pretty sure this is the same one I stayed in last time. And I knew that that would put me close proximity to a pit toilet right behind the site, and that path continues on to the shuttle road, which took me all the way down to the waterfront and the Quarry Lake. I went the long route yesterday in the rain and saw a lot of deer in the evening, because in the evening you're going to see them. So that's my refresh tour of Harrington Beach State Park. I think I hit all the highlights here. You got a beautiful beach now. I have slipped in a couple shots from 2020 just to show you how much it's improved. Not that you can go back and watch my old video, because once this one goes up, I'm going to yank that one because it was destroyed. I don't know what happened. Anyway, nice little campground, convenient to Milwaukee, easy up from Chicago. It's just straight up 94, or well, 90 to 43. That is the one drawback here. Is last night I thought I was hearing this constant water flow. I was like, but the lake's over there, and I was hearing it somewhere else. Well, it turns out it was the tire noise in the wet on 43 heading north. It is not that far from here. It's actually very close. So you will hear some road noise the whole time. Other than that, there's nothing out here. It's pretty remote. So make sure you bring everything you need except firewood. There's plenty of places locally to buy that. I didn't even bother last year picking any up because I knew I was going to be here. It was going to be raining on me all night long. And it did rain until probably about 3 o'clock last night. And then it cleared up, and I had a really nice morning to walk you around and show you this beautiful place. So thanks for coming along on this little trip with me. I'll see you on the next one. Get on out there and go check out all the deer.